My friend Aidan.
You.
How are you guys?
Hey, Terrence.
Terence.
It's been a long time since I've caught you on here, Aiden.
I know, I
And
know, I
for
know.
me, well, mostly I've also missed. So I feel like we've been coordinating to not be in the same meeting.
Struggle to make the later ones these days. Just life.
Yeah.
Yeah, work's been crazy too. So they like to schedule meetings when I already have the meeting blocked on my calendar. It's like when you're important enough that you're supposed to be there, but not important enough that your calendar matters.
Yeah. What have we got on the schedule this week?
Feel like the big thing these days has just been the Google RC for the launcher stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious, do you all run into a similar issue with needing to update launcher because of CV scans?
We end up rebuilding images quite regularly. So because of that, we don't run into those issues. Yeah.
Oh, because you probably just use KPack to rebuild on changes and stuff, right?
Sometimes, yeah, for a decreasing chunk of things, simply because our chunk of things that are building using pack is increasing.
Yeah. And I guess Google does not use KPack as well. And they
No.
have external customers that similar to Heroku that you're at the whim of kind of how often they choose to deploy.
Mhm.
But it still trips all the CV scanners.
Yeah, and presumably they don't want to just rebase the launcher layer.
Well, that was my
No.
suggestion to Juan was like, well, so they don't use pack at all.
No.
Um, but
They
I,
just
I,
use the life cycle creator and then they have some metadata solution to switch the run image. That's all what they do. So that's why they wanted to put the launcher into the run image layer so they can swap it and do any, and they don't need to do anything else. When I mentioned, hey, but you don't use Rebase? No, man, we don't use it. We have millions of workflows to be like applying the Rebase. So
isn't Rebase fast at million? Like we use Rebase and we can do it at millions.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's something from their internal infrastructure constraints or I don't know, honestly. Maybe it's yeah, for me it was like okay, you have the problem on a bigger scale and maybe rebasing e- each workflow is not something they want to handle. But at the end, what Herman said last week was they're gonna try like putting the launcher into the run image and then using the flag in the lifecycle creator to put like a wrapper launcher. So they actually doing what they want to do, like having the real launcher into the run image. And so this wrapper launcher that they're gonna inject during the application building it's like point to the real launcher into the run image layer.
So their launcher
So
binary is effectively just a bash script that calls
yeah,
launcher
something like that.
at args.
Uh-huh.
And okay,
I mean,
that makes
at
sense.
that point, isn't it just easier for them to write a custom exporter?
Ooh.
Like in the sense that it's you just you can just shove launcher in the run it into the image period and just having the exporter not export the launcher layer. Because launcher is its own layer, so it's not part of the app bundle at that point.
Yeah, launcher is on its own layer.
And
Yes.
when the build pack, when you're booting a OCI image that is a CNB, like at that point, it's not like there's an integrity check. So you can just shove it in the thing. You just need when you export to not put a separate layer that will override whatever you have on disk.
Mm.
Because
Wait,
they're not
so you
using
you
pack, they're not using anything else, right? So
no, they're just using lifecycle creator. Okay, so if they put a different exporter, a custom exporter, they have to do whatever the exporter is doing right now. And when the exporter is writing the launcher layer, you
you just
say
don't.
you you just don't write but you need the other things
Yeah, exactly. You just like don't write the export layer or the launcher layer.
and you put it in your run image.
Yeah, because it'll already be there in the run image, right? In the path, in the exact path.
No, okay, that that could be another option, maybe.
I mean, to some degree, I guess, or like at the end of the day, like whatever we're doing here, like none of it is compat with whatever the spec says. So, um, and maybe that's the point of the
uh,
RFC was to make it spec compat, but
So you kind of saying
it,
do it and then figure out the spec afterwards once you got the working implementation.
I just mean like I feel like from the CNB perspective, the cleanest thing to do is what you originally suggested, which is launcher specifically was an independent layer. If we're to change it, it potentially would break things. Which I don't know, depends how much we care about that. Um, and the cleanest thing to do is to just allow someone to build support to rebase if rebaser doesn't support it today, the launcher layer. Like it's not a crazy use case to want to rebase both the base image and the launcher layer. If your app bundle hasn't changed, you need to update it because it got scanned for CVs
yeah,
and it tripped the whatever thing because of some Go version update, right? Like that's a reasonable request to allow someone
yeah,
like I think the original request is reasonable. I think the thing that makes it tough for us is it means that if you put a wrapper in there, what happens if, and maybe it doesn't matter, like what happens if there's an image that doesn't have the thing it points wraps to on the run image,
yeah,
then it's
yeah,
kind of breaks that. But
But they're managing the contract at that stage. So
yeah, I mean, at least as a platform, you manage the contract, but it does mean like those Google built images are basically incompatible with anything else out there, right?
hold on a second. When the image is built, it still runs, and the launcher wrapper then calls. launcher. So, they're still executable OCI images. It's just they're not rebasable or anything by other platforms.
Yeah.
I can count the number of times that we've rebased images by other platforms on zero hands. So, it's a reasonable trade-off, I think. I mean, how many times would Heroku rebase an image that was built on a different platform?
Um, it's a thing we've talked about as a public
Okay,
facing platform.
interesting.
In the sense that obviously it's not safe to rebase a thing where the base image is totally different, so maybe it's a moot point, but definitely supporting like as an external customer, right? Like if you want to go off the rails of like what Heroku is promising you, like it's not crazy to have a customer wanting to bring their own base image, right?
Hey, there's a really good idea. How do we just tag each base image with maybe the stack that they support?
Ah, such a troll.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
Uh,
We spent a long time trying to get rid of this concept of stacks. So it's still hanging
yeah.
around.
I It's funny because I feel like all the people who are pushing for that have left the project. Uh, like from the original core team or whatever. Um, I mean, also like you can even do the custom launcher thing even for the wrapper, right? Where it's like, okay, you just shove the wrapper in, put the thing in the base image, call it a day. Then it technically is, I think, at least spec compliant to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what he said was he was gonna put this RFC on hold because he tested the approach. He put like a bash script there and they do some testing and it was working. His concern was about like the spec for the launcher. How do I write like a wrapper thing that actually handle all the cases for a particular CNB application? Um, so that's what I did a few days ago, tried to extract like the contract for this launcher from the spec and what we have in code. So, hey, this is like the interface your wrapper launcher should feel. Um, and go ahead and please test your approach and let us know if it works or not. And then maybe with that in with something that it's working, then maybe we can move forward to think on the RFC or if it's needed or not, or how we can like write it for the spec perspective for other platforms that could have the same problem. Um, because maybe what we have it's fine, and this is like a approach. Hey, you can implement in this way if you have this problem, right? Uh, he said like the Rust implementation without the problem of CVEs could also solve the problem because if if the scan didn't find anything on the launcher, then what I'm worried about. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how Jesse move on
Oh,
that part.
yeah, I've been talking to Jesse about it. I mean, I also did a thing over the Memorial Day weekend. Like the launcher is very small, and with AI tools, it's actually fairly easy to because it doesn't have any of the like hard dependencies that are in Go, like Moby slash Docker,
Uh-huh.
which are like massive dependencies. Like the launcher is like a very simple like process some stuff, set some M's, like standard Linux things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and so yeah, using a systems programming language to do those things is actually pretty easy and good. Um, I mean, it's a thing we've talked about for, I mean, Juan, it's a thing that like
Yeah.
I feel like I talked to Emily and Steven about like 6 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, maybe that's like the approach, just to get rid of this problem of CVEs in the launcher layer, and that's it. We
yeah,
don't need to complicate
Jesse
things.
was interested in migrating the launcher from Go to
Yeah.
Rust and just
Yes.
eventually
He did
deprecating the
a
Go one.
yeah, he did a branch he was working on, but not sure how stable or if he managed to test it out. My only concern with that part is suppose we have the launcher version in Rust. Are we gonna like because we don't know if we're gonna break a workload out there at some point. So are we gonna like live with both versions in a some period of time? So if hey, this new version, the lifecycle new
Oh
version
yeah,
with
I
this
I
launch.
assume so.
Yeah.
It could.
Like
It does mean though that you've got a nice clean. Well, I've got two questions. One question and one observation. It does mean that you can have a nice clean only supports the latest API version of Launcher because you wouldn't do any kind of backwards compatibility stuff with the new Rust version. But then my question is,
I mean the one that I wrote was trying to be byte for byte compatible.
oh wow, okay.
Um, so it did support the old APIs.
So my question though is, if you take the whatever would go into the Rust binary, all the dependencies and all that kind of stuff, does that actually represent a lower number of CVEs? Because I know all the CVEs in Go are generally in standard library and that kind of stuff. But if you've got to pull in a bunch of other Rust libraries, does it reduce the number of CVEs?
Um, let's see, the number of Rust, it pulls in Serde, Toml, libc, and which those are
Yeah.
the dependencies that it uses. I think the way it doesn't the way the well, I mean most of the Go ones are Go, right?
Yeah.
yes. I don't know that one because I do not program in Rust.
I mean, I think one of the big differences is that the Rust runtime is massively smaller than the Go one.
Yeah. So you're not exposed to CVs that because a lot of CVs that you get in the Go runtime, we don't trigger anyway. It's just
Yeah, you're just gonna trip the thing, right?
yeah. I need to jump. It's just gone on fire. Apologies, folks.
Oh, well, thanks for joining, Aiden.
Uh, I have one more thing just to get your opinions. Let me share very quickly. I didn't put it on the agenda, but just to get. Uh, I'm working on removing the Docker
Are we actually gonna
dependency.
do that now?
I mean, I did some part with the Moby thing, but then I still have like some pieces that were like, hey, I need to do this, and I forgot. Then someone in the Slack told me, yeah, we are having some things about. So I have this PR, which is very straightforward, but and that's fine. This is okay. But I do have a problem with the volume logic when I'm and like parsing the hey, the user wants to mount this path into the container, right? And the problem I have was the way I did this was I took like the code for I did this. I took the code in I took the code in Docker, and it was like very small code, and I put it inside Pack. And that's it. This is the code, and that worked for Linux. But then I forgot that we still support Linux container on Windows. So the Linux container on Windows, a certain test failed because obviously I like removed that code. So the other approach was, okay, I already like put the code from Docker into Pack. Let me do the same thing for Windows. But it turns out that the Linux code, it's like 100 lines of code. But for Windows in Docker, it's like another 1,000 lines of code. So at the end, if I want to take the whole portion of the code from this volume mount thing that they have in Docker, and I want to put it at least in Pack and then remove that dependency, I will need to bring into Pack like 1,000 lines of code. So I'm tempted to do that. Those lines will not add any new dependency or anything. It's just those lines of code. I tried to search in Moby if they were going like to expose that code at some point, but what they did was actually to move that code into an internal package into Moby. So I believe they are not planning to expose that code in any point. So my concern is that
Does does that code live in Moby too? It's just not exposed.
yes, it's in Moby, but now they put it into like this path into Moby, which is inside of the daemon internal code in Moby. So I believe some code they want to keep internal.
Have you reached
So
out
my
to the Moby
no,
devs?
I just did this today. I'm just
Ah, okay.
thinking about it. Yeah. So like that, this is the only portion of code I need to get rid of uh to actually complete the migration to Movie. Um because yeah, then I have some CVEs based on this Docker thing, so I want to stop having that. Uh so one option for me is just put it here and then maybe open a conversation at some point and talk to them. Hey, can this code be exposed so I don't need to copy it over and and can be maintained by them?
Do we have any impression how much that code has changed over the years?
No, but I can try to see check commits and things like that with AI to see how
Yeah,
much.
I guess I think the strategy's fine. I think my concern are the obvious ones of like if we vendor a bunch of code and then it drifts from whatever upstream, like are we putting anything at risk as Moby or whatever gets updated, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Or do we basically have to like continually as one of the checks, like check to make sure the mount code uh you know has not changed when we update the Moby version or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's obviously
Uh,
the big window where whether it's 100 lines or 1,000 lines, like that's the thing that you open yourself up to, and it just
okay.
obviously feels worse at 1,000 lines.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Uh, but I assume like that's also how you feel too. So I don't think I'm saying anything novel here.
Good, good. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I don't know if you have any other strategy, but I mean, this is like very particular code because I don't know if there is another library from
I assume
containers
there is not
that,
another library. Uh, it
yeah,
feels very specific to the Docker mount stuff. So
to Docker mounted. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, I can also try to open like a request or try to reach someone from Docker. I think there was someone in the Slack that at some point they offer help if we need something. So
yeah.
it would be great if they can
I
like
mean,
work
another
around it.
maybe crazy. This is probably a crazy idea because I've not investigated this at all. Is like, does Podman have volume mount stuff that we could leverage?
I don't know. Yeah, I can research and see if we. Yeah, my biggest concern was doing this, like keeping the same code. It's like a guarantee for me to, okay, I'm not gonna break anything.
Yep.
So I'm happy at least with that baby step. Then we can like figure it out. I already removed the dependency to the Docker CLI. Now let me see if I can improve this to avoid maintenance on our side. Um, but yeah, I will explore those. Good. Sweet. Colin, did you have something to want to talk about? No.
Just hanging out. And I certainly don't want to bring up removing Docker as a dependency from Pat. All right.
I
It's
know.
like we
It's
hear
just
most projects are basically just saying if you want Windows, use WSL, and that's probably for exactly what you're hitting.
okay.
I got nothing. I got
Okay.
nothing.
Good. Well, I don't have anything else, guys.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah. I do want to investigate, I guess, yeah, the Rust launcher stuff from Jesse. I think he basically handed some stuff off to me.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I think it's worth it to
investigate it.
move on. Yeah, investigate it.
Yeah, I think one of the big reasons that you don't get as many CVEs is because of how large the Go standard library is. And so if
Mm,
you like the big things, right? Like I feel like a lot of the historical CVs are like stuff against HTTP and those kind of things that are built into Go. And
yeah.
none of that stuff is built into the Rust standard library. Like you have to pull in Hyper or something, right?
Okay.
Or even like TLS, like TLS is an external library or like a crate you have to pull in, right? So um
Good.
I think the big like, it's like Aiden was saying a lot of the CVs don't apply or aren't being used by the launcher. Launcher is very
Yeah.
simple, but it's part of Go standard library, so it gets flagged.
Yes.
And so
And it's
then
really annoying.
everyone, yeah, so like technically you don't have to update the launcher. It's just that have to basically produce like a, you know, whatever that the SBOM artifact thing that says that you aren't vulnerable and then share that with everyone, I guess, every time those CVs
Mm,
come out, right? And they would have to then pull that into their software supply chain pipeline. But it's like
yeah, but
almost easy, it's
you
almost easier to just update Go.
yes, because you still have the annoying alert in your whatever
Yeah.
tool you're
Yeah,
using
it basically
telling you,
silences the
hey,
alert if you do it.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, so you basically circumvent all the like HTTP, TLS, crypto kind of, I think, like vulns. Because the only thing, and then if there's anything, I guess, in the garbage collector, but I think that is pretty rare. I think a lot of CVs are conveniently HTTP, DNS, TLS based.
yeah, usually. And there are no ideas in Go to like split. the runtime or something on their end right now. The runtime has what it has, and that's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. But yeah, I think the big thing that I need to test is probably to do smoke tests against the pack acceptance tests.
And we will need to think on how, someone that uses the new life cycle can go back to the previous launcher in case
Yeah.
that something is broken or something, at least for a
Yeah.
period of time.
And we have to support S390X. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that one, and there is like two more that the community added.
What are the other two?
Arch Linux thing.
Arch
Check.
Linux. That's a distro.
That's a distro. PPC 64. That's the other one, right? We have ARM, AMD, S39, and PPC 64.
Is that the PowerPC stuff?
I don't know what the hell is that. It's PowerPC processors.
Yeah, like the old IBM PowerPC stuff that Macs used to use.
Yeah, yes, yes. Yes. That one came from the IBM guys. Yes.
It is an IBM processor, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Rust supports actually all those.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a question of should we build for muscle or libc, but
Mm. And this one will be like a new repo, right? On
yeah,
those.
I was talking to Jesse about it, and he says we should just make it a new repo
Good.
and not shove it in the lifecycle thing.
Okay. Yeah, new repo makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll probably make a new repo, push some stuff up, and then we can poke at it, I guess, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, if we put in place a mechanism to switch one launcher or the other, we can just release something and start testing out.
Should we? I assume we should version it to match the lifecycle version and not start a new version series.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. But then we want to keep that because right now, yes, we version the launcher inside the life cycle, but after some point it
Well, I guess
could
that's a
be
good question. Like, we have a lot of versions of lifecycle that are literally just go bump.
yes.
Like and then you would not need to update the Rust launcher.
No, probably not. And could just be like a dependency inside the life cycle somehow to pull whatever latest launcher version we have.
Yeah. It's a conversation, I'm sure, that's worth talking about more. Because that, like, even in life cycle, the launcher gets, because the surface area is fairly stable, it gets touched the least.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
you touch the rest of life cycle a lot more with changes and stuff,
Yes.
and launcher basically has not been touched,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, a
Uh,
long time ago. That's correct.
so I wonder if it is actually worth matching the life cycle version, because you probably would not update launcher nearly as often except for dep updates. I mean, similar, right? It's like, okay, there's a new
Yeah.
version of whatever, update the thing, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Do
Okay.
do do we need an RFC to discuss this thing, or it's just implementation that it
I think we
doesn't?
probably should have an RFC. It doesn't mean you
Okay.
can't do implementation at the same time, but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
probably want an RFC. I think like these are the questions that would come in, right? Like, how would you
yeah,
do the version? What's the migration strategy, etc.
yeah. Yeah, I think we should start writing some things down and start conversations about it. That's a
Okay,
good thing to do. Good.
cool.
Well, I
Thanks,
need to
y'all.
prepare for another meeting. So yeah, see you. Bye.